afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I actually just got finished with work and I'm going to be heading home. However, I thought today's video would be fun to do a little bit of a pros and cons situation with security forces. If you are interested in what is good about security forces and maybe what is not so good about security forces, then I highly suggest you continue watching this video because I think it is going to be very informational, especially for those who are contemplating joining security forces or those who are brand new to the Air Force or brand new to security forces in general. Before we get started, I want to make a quick disclaimer and say that the pros and cons I'm going to be mentioning in this video is of my own opinion and my personal experience, and do not portray that of the Air Forces. To start out, we are going to start with cons and then we will move into pros. And the reason I want to start with cons and then to pros is so that way we can end on a positive note. The first con that I want to mention is weather conditions. When you are brand new to the Air Force in security forces, your first 2 years possibly are going to be at the gate. Therefore, you will be standing outside and during all types of weather, whether it be rain, hot as heck outside, or snowing, you will be standing outside checking IDs. That is a downside to security forces. I know that during the winter here, it gets freezing cold. Like, I cannot stand it. I'm a person who gets extremely cold really easily. But here I am bundled up to the best of my ability and I am still outside checking IDs. Sometimes you can be outside for hours or it can be minutes. You better prepare yourself. Depending on where you go, you will have to endure all types of weather. I know that's a downfall. You'll get used to it, I promise, because I personally get used to the cold. Even though I hate the cold with a passion, I do get used to it. The second con that I want to mention is that your schedule will constantly fluctuate. I cannot tell you how many times they have switched my schedule around just since I have been here August of 2018. What I mean by schedule change is that 1 week you will be in 8-hour shifts, the next week it'll change and you'll be in 12-hour shifts, then a month later you'll be back in 8s, and then another month or two later you'll be back in 12s. I feel like the schedule constantly changes and it's really hard on families and even those that don't have families because it's hard for you to get used to the time differences. First off, when you're going from 8-hour shifts to 12-hour shifts constantly back and forth, that is hard for an individual to change their sleep schedule around because when you're on 12-hour shifts, you might need to go to bed a little bit earlier because I'm telling you right now, personally, it is hard for me to work a 12-hour shift, especially when we have to be in work so early. Not only does the time changes, you may be switching or rotating flights. Me personally, I have stayed on days my entire time that I've been here, but others might not be so lucky. Not only that, your days off will change. Let's say 1 week you might have Friday, Saturday off, and then a month later you'll switch to a different element or something and you'll have Tuesdays, Wednesdays off. The third con that I have for you is kind of a doozy. In security forces, you hardly get holidays off. If you do, it's honestly by random draw or just because you got lucky. It's not because we automatically get that holiday off. Because we are cops, we work every holiday while every other career field in the Air Force gets the holiday off. There might be like maintainers or something that also has to work holidays, but if you're medical, finance, you get holidays off. So let's say it's President's Day. They get it off, but we are still working at the gates. When it comes to Christmas time and New Year's time, we do rotate between who gets the Christmas off and who gets New Year's off, and then next year it might switch. Honestly, it's where they need you at the time. Last year, I believe, I had the 4th of July off, but that's just how it fell onto my work schedule, not because they gave me the day off. The fourth and last con that I want to mention is that security forces members feel the need to be assertive, and I feel like they do it in a rude type of manner. That just comes with the career field. Some security forces members think that when they're being more rude to an individual, they're being more assertive, and sometimes that's not the case because me personally, it comes across wrong in my eyes. People don't need to be rude to me for me to understand that they're a higher ranking than me or that I did something wrong. They can just talk to me like a normal person. I get that there is a time and place where someone needs to be assertive, but in general, that is just security forces members. You have to either work with it and learn the ways of security forces, or it will bother you. And sometimes it does bother me, but I have learned a lot being in this career field, and I don't let the assertiveness or rudeness of other people get to me as much. You just kind of have to go with the flow. Not everybody's personality will match with others in the career field, and that's okay. The first pro that I want to mention is that we constantly have post rotations, and that is honestly one thing that caught my eye with law enforcement. I was the person that did not want to have a stagnant job where I constantly just did the same thing every day. When you first start out, you do kind of have the same thing every day, like checking IDs, and it does get monotonous, and I completely understand that. But there's more than just what individuals see at the gate. We have a lot more post and post rotations. They think that the only thing that we do is gate guard duty, and that is not the case. I promise you that once you get more into the career field, you will have post rotations. That is something that I find intriguing. Then your day is going to be something different than it was yesterday. I just kind of like the feel of that. I'm a person that will get bored extremely easy if I don't have different aspects or different things happening in my life. The second pro that I want to mention is that you get a lot of interaction with those that come on base and with other people. I personally like this pro of security forces because I'm a very social, talkative person. I love meeting or talking to new people that come through the gate. I talk a lot when I do my YouTube videos. I post a lot on social media. I'm just that type of person. I'm open with my life. I love talking and communicating to people. And this is also a pro because maybe one of those connections that you make with somebody on the outside world or outside of your career field can benefit you and help you in the long run because you have that network connection. The third pro that I want to mention to you is that you learn different aspects of the law. We may not be learning civilian law enforcement, but we do learn law enforcement specifically for our base. I think that is something that is so fun, so engaging. I feel that there's a lot that I have learned about law enforcement and what we can and cannot do as a law enforcement member that I had no idea was even a thing when I was a civilian. The fourth and last pro that I want to mention to you guys is that there are multiple job opportunities within security forces. Within flight, you can either be armory, back office. If you want to branch out of security forces, you can do K9, CADM. I think that is so awesome because a lot of people only see us at the gates and they think that is the only thing that we do. There are other jobs where you can't branch out, like your job is set in stone and that is the only job that you have trained for, and that's the only job that you can do without cross training. However, here you don't necessarily cross train. You might go to another tech school. Like I said, K9 you have to go to tech school, and CADM you have to go to tech school. Armory, you just get put in that position, you learn the position, you take your test, and then you get certified. Within this video, I mentioned 4 different cons and 4 different pros of security forces. I feel that these will benefit you and maybe influence or help you guys decide if you want to be in security forces, and if you are in security forces, that it helps you understand the career field a little bit more, especially while you're going through BMT or while you're going through tech school. I did not want to mention cons and feel that it has such a negative impact on your decision and give you a negative connotation about security forces. I just wanted to inform you guys of the different things that I feel security forces has to offer, and that is also why I mentioned the pros. I hope that you guys have a little bit of a better understanding of security forces. Don't let my opinions of security forces or the Air Force have you guys stray from what you guys want to do, because I am doing what I want to do, and I joined security forces for a specific reason and for a specific goal in mind. And if you guys have something like that, then I highly encourage you guys to join security forces. I really hope that I helped benefit you guys with this video, and I hope it was very informative. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video.